What's up, guys? This is Matt with Conservative Trades coming at you with another episode in the Paper Trade Diaries. Today, I am looking at LIZI. LIZI, it's gapping up once again and getting bought up right now. It's running fairly parabolic. Just a few days ago, this was like a $3 stock. And yeah, it's making some really big moves up here now, and you can see it at least from the looks of looks of the chart here. Looks like it IPO'd in January of 2020, so just a little over a year ago, roughly around $15.28, I think it was. So this is going to be very interesting to watch today. And, I'm not sure that as parabolic as it's moving right now, I'm not sure this is a stock that I'd really like to get in. I mean, it's a 22 million share float roughly. So that's be considered pretty low float, and it's not really an expensive stock. So this could pump pretty hard. So this is one of those stocks, though. What I would be personally looking for in this is to exercise what I call the pullback strategy. For those of you who have been watching this channel long enough, you've seen me perform this pullback strategy on multiple occasions. It's very effective when you get really extended moves on particularly the 2 or 3 minute candle, depending on what your chart allows. It's something that I look more on the 2 to 3 minute charts on rather than the 5 minute chart. Now, what I typically like to see is these really heavy extended moves. I try to watch for 2 to 3 of these really long candles, highly extended off the 9 EMA. And so it's not something that it's a strategy that well, let's put it like this. Oftentimes people will say to me, they're like, why are you shorting into a strong stock? Don't you know that this stock is going up today? Well, yeah, sure, it might be going up today, and that's totally fine if it goes up today. I'm not looking to short this for the day. I'm looking to short it and get in with a really good trade, get in and out literally within minutes, if sometimes not even just seconds, right? Within 30, 45 seconds, get in and out of this stock. And I'm capitalizing on where I believe essentially a lot of other people are going to be dumping their shares. Because what happens is when you get these really extended moves, and they're highly extended off these moving averages, you've got two people, right? Two kinds of people, essentially. There's more than two kinds of people, but essentially I'd say by and large, the two groups could be bundled up like this. Number one, you've got people who are FOMOing into the hype, and they want to go ahead and just take position because they do believe that it's going to be going up today, right? And so they're still buying a little up there. But then you got all the other people that started getting in down here who are thinking to themselves, well, this could be the top. So let me go ahead and offload some of my shares. Let me go ahead and take some profit. And so what happens in that moment is you got profit taking that starts to come in. And so the bears essentially start to overwhelm the buyers just temporarily. This is just a very quick temporary move. And then, of course, you've got people who are just getting in at the top there that see that there's this major dump happening, and they get scared, and they see this big sell volume bar starting to come in. So then they start offloading, and they're like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I ought to wait to see if it, comes back down and finds support, and then I'll get back in, right? And so there's a lot that happens in those moments. And if it's really bullish, what you'll oftentimes see happening is you'll see, it might not have this huge sell-off and come all the way back down to the 9 EMA. It may not retrace all the way back to the moving average. It may find support and then go into a period of consolidation. And then, of course, in that time, at that moment, we would see that kind of as a very potential bull flag, right? And then from there, it may continue to break out. So if it's really strong, it'll do that. But I always tell everybody, well, if it goes into that point of consolidation, then that's where I would get out. And I would say, okay, this might not be the best place to short it. So I might have to take a little bit of a loss or get out break even. But the idea is to, right here, you can see, if I had went ahead and gotten in on this candle at 1365, right? And I went ahead and shorted 1,000 shares. The idea is that maybe it can get a return to that 9 EMA. Maybe I could at least get out of those 1,000 shares at 1265, get a good quick dollar move within a few minutes and make $1,000. That's what this strategy is for. I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to short this because I think this stock is going to dump and go all the way down today. No, I'm saying I want to get a momentary move and capitalize on it as quickly as possible. But this is the point where had I taken that position, had I started to go short here, and now I'm seeing that it may go into a period of consolidation, what I might do is say, well, I tell you what, if it comes out over 1375, then I just want to get out. Okay, so I'll take $100 loss. But if this continues to resolve to the downside, I would be standing to make, $1,000. You're looking at a 10-to-1 profit loss ratio, right? Anyway, that's the type of move that I was initially looking for here. Now, it didn't pump up as high as I wanted it to. Part of the whole pullback strategy also relies on looking at previous areas of support and resistance. Now, it did look like there was a good bit of consolidation up here around these points, which is probably why it's pulling back there. But I was actually looking for it to tap up here around $15. And I what I wanted to see, and I didn't get to see it, so I'm not going to take the trade right now, but what I wanted to see on this 3-minute chart was another strong candle buy up all the way to that 15 mark. And that's probably where I would have gotten into my position. Okay, traders, and we are back. It's later in the morning here. We're nearing the 11 o'clock hour. And, I'm actually starting to want to go, I'm looking at maybe going long here on LIZI. It seems as though it's finding a little bit of support in these areas. I'm seeing higher lows, and right here at 1168, maybe I might even set it to 1150. I think I would be fine to get in right here with about, I don't know, maybe 500 shares. I think that would be a nice conservative amount, and we are conservative trades, so all works together, right? But I'm thinking about right here, just taking 500 shares because, again, we've got some good news here. We have continued to have a nice run up here. Now, each of these, and this is the only concerning part, each of these daily run ups, you can see that there's a lot of wicks. They still end up coming back down, right? So the only reason why I would really feel comfortable getting in right now is because we are kind of getting very, very close to breaking out of all-time highs at around 1524. So because of that, I'd be willing to take a trade today to see if it can break out of those levels up there. And I'd be willing to take, we'll say 400 shares. We'll be even more conservative about this. We'll say 400 shares here. And I'll go ahead and put in an order. It's got to catch my order. Let's see. I'm going to put in an order for 400 shares at $12. And I'm going to give it 50 cents. I'm going to give it 50 cents to run, right? Because what that'll do is that'll break this low back here. But it'll also break low enough below this 20 moving average to where, if it closes below that, I think it's going to dump, at least a little bit, Sure, I may get stopped out here and then it may recover and end up pushing back up. But you know what? The woes of trading, right? The woes of trading. We've all been there. We've all been there, right? So you can see it's coming down now here. So hopefully I'll get my fill of 400 shares. And then, like I said, I'll just put a stop here at 1149. So I'm basically going to be risking $200. But the upside potential is pretty good. And so what I would do is I would probably see if it could break high of day and maybe take the first 200 shares off up here at $14. That would be a $2 move on those first 200 shares. So I'd make $400. And then I would let those other 200 ride to see if we could break all-time highs and maybe even see if it could, squeeze all the way up to 16 or something like that. And then, of course, I would get a $4 move on those last 200 shares, making $800. And so the full gain on this, the full upside potential would be roughly around $1,200. Now, obviously, if the story changes, there it is. It just caught my order there. So obviously, if the story changes and it looks like, things are, going to go awry, or if my plan doesn't look like it's going to work, obviously I'll take profit. So it could be that the way that I end up trading this, I only make maybe $800, let's say. But I think I stand to reasonably make anywhere from $800 to $1,200 on this trade today. And so, yes, I'm really willing to risk 200. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in right now. Let's see what happens from here. But I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'll check back in a little bit later. All right, what's up, traders? So you can see it came down here, but it never came down and got me out down here. So we never lost the low of day. We never lost the, well, I don't know if that's low of day. I guess this would be low of day. We never lost the previous low, and we never lost the 20 EMA. And so it actually, the buy volume really started stepping back in. You can see it came all the way up here, and it took out my first 200 shares at $14. So, okay, so we're out 200 shares at 14 for $400. And I am probably going to move my stop up. Let's see. Let's look here. Let's look at the 15-minute chart real quick. Let's see what's happening here. Um, so this is interesting because it looks like buy volume is actually decreasing on the 15-minute. That's interesting. That's interesting. So it may be that I want to come out if it breaks the previous 15-minute low. Or we could say if it breaks the 9 EMA, because it's right in that 9 EMA really good. It could come down, tap the 9 EMA, it could break all the lows, tap it, and then go back up. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to move my stop. Well, this is technically my stop, but I'll get rid of that one. I'll use this trend or this line right here, horizontal ray. And you know what? I will just I'll put it at break even. I'll put it at break even and a little above just to account for some slippage in case it, So we'll let it go down to 1209. If it breaks down through 1210, it's definitely going to take me out, and even with slippage, I should be able to get out break even here on the last 200 shares. So let's also look at the 30-minute real quick. Let's see what it's doing on the longer time frame here. 30 minutes. You know what? See, I'm having second thoughts. This is why I like to look at the longer time frames. You know what? Let's see, 5 minutes. I tell you what. I'm going to give it to, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing, just to explain something. I'm going to use the hour chart with the 5-minute, and here's why. Because the hour chart, if it'll switch over, as you can see, if it comes all the way down and starts losing the low of the hour, I'm going to want to go ahead and come out there, because that also will coincide with what's happening here. That will be the first time that it actually breaks and loses the 20 moving average on the 5-minute today. And so why set it all the way to break even when I could probably get out with another 200 here and still end the day with about a $600 profit? I'd make $200 on that last 200 shares. Now, what I'm looking to do is what I'm looking for it to do is the same thing that I was talking about earlier. I really haven't changed my opinion about this. I think that it's very possible we're going to go to break high of day. That's 1524, and I think if that happens, it can squeeze all the way up to $16. So, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put my stop here, and I'm going to set an alert for when it breaks high of day. And when it breaks high of day, I'm going to go ahead and remove my stop, and I'm going to put an order in at $16. And hopefully we'll get that full $4 move on those last 200 shares, and that will actually put me up 1,200 on the day. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right now, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, you can see we have broken all-time highs on LIZI, and you can see I've removed my stop from down here at $13, and I put an order all the way up here at 16 to get out the last 200 shares. And I don't see why we can't. The volume has really started to increase, the buy volume that is. Even here on the 15-minute, it looked like we were having a low point, but the buyers have really stepped in. And I mean, this is looking really good, and it probably will. I mean, it probably will hit up close to $20 today. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. The only thing that I wonder in my mind is, looking here on the hourly chart, or excuse me, the daily chart. Both these last couple days that had these run-ups ended up having these long wicks. So we know that historically, and when I say historically, I mean the last 2 days. Each of these pumps have involved a lot of selling. Okay. So I don't know, I wondered to myself, could this maybe just tap up to 16, 17 and then be a sell off, throughout the rest of the day? And maybe it sells off back down to 15 or 14. I mean, I don't know. So as a day trader though, I'd rather just trade, take the trade and, get in and get out with the profits and be done. And I think we're going to be able to do that today. Come on, break up through that line. Break up through that line. Come on, you can do it. Here we go. This may be it. And I don't want to just see it touch that line. It's got to break through that line. It's got to break through that line. That's really what I want to see. There it is, 94, 1594. Come on. It's like the moment we've all been waiting for. 15.99. Okay, it's touching 16, but I want it to go through there. It's not good enough to me. When paper trading, it's not good enough to me for it to just touch the number, because it could have gotten a few other orders other than mine. Maybe my order was at the back of the line, right? So I don't know. I don't know where it was in the order book. So, it's got to go. I want to see it go through 16. I want it to be 1601, 1605, 1610, something, break through that line. All right, guys. So this has kind of had a little bit of a pullback. We're getting to a place right now where I feel like if it starts really dropping from here, I would like to have a stop in maybe around $14. We'll say $13.99. So that'll still enable me to make another $400. We'll basically end the day up $800 if it goes all the way down here and breaks through 14 again. It's got to break through 14 because I'm going to set my stop at $13.99. Now I'm not doing that yet. I'm going to keep my order up here at $16. I'm going to keep this here to take out my 200 shares at $16, but I'm going to set an alert. And if this breaks down past this low right here, 1434, I'm going to immediately come in and go ahead and put my stop below the break of 14. Because that will be the first time today that it actually crushes through the 20 moving average and, breaking that low. As a matter of fact, I'll even give myself more time than that. If it breaks down past 1450, let's say, if it breaks down past 1450, I'll go ahead and set an alert there so that I got plenty of time to come in here and stop this order here and put in a stop at $13.99. So I'll check back in here in a little bit, and one of two things are going to happen. Either number one, it's going to have finally come up and shot through 16 and taken me out, and I will end the day with $1,200 on these 400 shares, or it's going to break down, crush through the 20 EMA, and it's going to stop me out at roughly around $14, just below $14, and I'll make 800 on the day. Maybe we'll say maybe 780 after slippage or whatever, but that's the plan. All right, I'll check back in later. Okay, guys, and as you can see, it took me out here at my stop, right below $14. So got basically $2 on those last shares. So I'm going to say out last 200 shares at, let's see, at $14 for 400. And let's just say there was, I don't know, a little bit of slippage or whatever. We could say I'm up, let's say up 780 on the day. So 780 on the day, and then I guess if you tally up, let's see, the 5,300 from this week plus 780 equals 6,080. So, and let's go ahead and just minus $80 for fees and commissions on the few trades I have taken this week. Let's just say I'm up 6,000 on the week. Okay, we'll say up 6,000 on the week. That's after fees, commissions, and whatever else I'm not accounting for here. But so this was pretty good, and I'm happy with this trade. I think this trade went really well. I still think this trade's probably going to break out today, and the only reason I say that is because when you look at the longer time frames here, and I always want to break it down and look at the longer time frames. When you look at the longer time frames here, I mean, this is it's extended off that 9 EMA on the hourly, and this could just be a momentary sell-off and maybe forming a bull flag on the hour, or maybe even forming a little bit of a flag here on the 30 minutes. But by and large, the sell volume is weak. And that's why I say that. When you check the longer time frames, maybe the 15-minute might it's even kind of weak on the 15-minute. So this might just be about to go into a point of consolidation, and I would expect this to just continue going up at some point. So me personally, I mean, that's just if I had to make an assessment and take a stance one way or the other, I would say that this stock is probably going to continue making its way up. So now watch it open at $6 tomorrow morning, right? But no. I mean, hey, I guess that could happen. But like I said here, the indicators, this is a lot of buy volume that we've seen the last several days. There's a lot of buy volume, way more buy volume than there is sell volume. And, even right here on the hourly, it's not selling off a lot. So I think this is kind of one of those stocks where it's probably going to kind of dip below this 20 EMA, but maybe find some support here around, I don't know, 1350 would be a good area. There was a lot of consolidation around that area, and that was a point of resistance back here. So yeah, maybe consolidate around 1350 and then start reclaiming the moving averages and moving back up. And that's what I would think is probably going to happen from here. But anyway, guys, this has been awesome, and hopefully it's just as awesome for you. So we are ending up the day $780. Was hoping to make that 1,200 bucks, and yes, it did tap the 16. It tapped $16 several times actually on the 1 minute chart. You can see right here it popped up there 3 times. Could it have taken my order? Like if I really, if I was really trading here, would it have taken my order? I don't know, but I always like to assume when paper trading that it didn't, and I would rather it rush up through my order so that I could confirm, okay, that definitely would have taken me out at 16, but it didn't. So I'm playing by the rules here, guys, being honest and holding up the integrity as much as I can. But up 780 on the day, I'll take it. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Paper Trade Diaries.